This last session of this chapter, carbohydrate, is about polysaccharides. So in the first session, we have seen that carbohydrate can be classified into monosaccharide, oligosaccharide as well as polysaccharide depending on the number of units we get on hydrolysis of this carbohydrate. So if we are getting only one monosaccharide unit, we call it as only monosaccharides. If we get 2 to 10 unit on hydrolysis of a carbohydrate, we call it as collectively oligosaccharide. It can be further classified into disaccharide, trisaccharide, etc. If we are getting more than 20 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis of a carbohydrate, we call such a carbohydrate as polysaccharide. So this session is about polysaccharide, their sources, then comparative account of partial structure and biological functions of starch, glycogen, cellulose, chitin and insulin. So definition of polysaccharide you know already. These are carbohydrate of very high molecular weight and they yield more than 20 monosaccharide molecules on hydrolysis. Examples are starch, glycogen, cellulose, etc. Coming to the first example in detail, starch, which is a very important storage polysaccharide in plant cells. Starch is a very important storage polysaccharide in plant cells and it contains, the structure of starch contains two components. It is the structure, the partial structure of starch contains two components, which is amylose and amylopectin. Amylose, the percentage is around 25% and the amylopectin percentage is 75%. So the partial structure of starch is consisting of 75% of amylopectin and 25% of amylose. Let us see the structure of amylose. This is the partial structure, Haber structure of amylose, which consists of linear chains of alpha D glucose units. Let us take two alpha D glucose units which are joined together through alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. You can see here, this is the first carbon of one D glucose and this is the fourth carbon of the second D glucose unit. So here we have one OH group and here we have one OH group. Both OH group will combine together and with the elimination of one water molecule, we get one glycosidic linkage which is represented as bond O, that is oxygen bond. Such type of linkage is termed as glycosidic linkage. As this particular glycosidic linkage is formed between the OH group on the first carbon of one glucose unit and OH group on the fourth carbon of the other glucose unit, we call it as alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So this amylose consists of, it is a linear chain of D-glucose unit joined through alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Its molecular mass can vary from few thousands, about 1,50,000. It is soluble in water. Amylose is soluble in water. It gives blue color with iodine, which can be detected, which can be used for the qualitative analysis of sugar. That is, it gives blue color with iodine. The iodine atom occupies a position in the interior of the helical coil of glucose unit that is formed when amylose is suspended in water. This is how we can detect this amylose using iodine. We get blue color when we treat amylose with iodine. Then already we have seen that the partial structure of starch is consisting of amylose and amylopectin. Amylopectin is a branched polysaccharide. In this molecule, short chains of glucose units are linked together through alpha 1,4 linkage and after some part there is a branching. Branching occurs through alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. So there are two types of glycosidic linkage in the case of amylopectin. You can see in this structure. So this part is same as that of the amylose structure. So amylose structure is formed between the D-glucose molecules joined together through alpha-1,4 glycosidic linkage. So after some time, that is when around 24 to 30 units of glucose units are joined together in a linear way, then after around 24-25 unit, there occurs a branching. And that branching is due to the OH group of one glucose unit and the OH group of the sixth carbon of another glucose unit. OH group of the first carbon and OH group on the sixth carbon of the other glucose unit. That is how a branching occurs, and such a glycosidic linkage is termed as alpha-1,6 glycosidic linkage. So amylopectin consists of two types of glycosidic linkage. In the linear chain, there is alpha-1,4 linkage, and at the branching, there is alpha-1,6 linkage. Again it's a linear structure, so it will be alpha-1,4 linkage. So in this amylopectin, the branching occurs around 24 to 30 units of the amylose structure. Now, coming to glycogen structure, we know that starch is a storage polysaccharide in plant. Coming to glycogen structure, it is a branched chain polymer similar to amylopectin. Just like amylopectin structure of glycogen is also very similar to that of amylopectin, except the branching is more complex. That is, at every 8 unit there occurs a branching. So it consists of glucose chain joined through alpha-1,4 linkage as well as glucose chain which is linked through alpha-1,6 linkage. So structure of amylopectin and structure of glycogen both are same. Only thing is this branching occur at every 8 unit of this amylose structure. Then coming to the biological importance of glycogen, this is again a main storage polysaccharide, but this is present in animal cell, whereas starch is present in plant cell. It is abundant in liver and also in skeletal muscle. Then it is reverse source of energy for animals. It undergoes hydrolysis enzymatically to yield glucose, which is readily oxidized to provide energy. Coming to the third polysaccharide, which is cellulose, which is a linear polymer consisting of 10,000 to 15,000 D-glucose units. But here, the linking glucose units are beta-D-glucose molecule. And these beta-D-glucose molecules are joined together through beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage. So this is again having a linear structure. Cellulose is having a linear structure and they are consisting of beta-D glucose units. So here we can see the structure, two beta-D glucose units. Beta-D, the difference is OH group will be, OH group is written towards the upper side. So here the first position OH group and fourth position OH group of the second beta-D glucose molecule are linked together through beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage. It continues. This form from 1 to 4, 1 to 4 linkage will continue. That is the polymer, and this is the structure of cellulose. So it is found in the cell wall of plant. This is a structural polysaccharide. Cellulose is a structural polysaccharide which is giving structural strength for the cell wall. It is most abundant organic compound in nature. Then flax and cotton contain up to 99% cellulose, while wood contain 41 to 53% of cellulose. Again, coming to the biological function, cellulose is also not acted upon by amylase present in the digestive tract of human and most other higher animals. The only vertebrate able to use cellulose as food are cattle and other ruminant animal. That you know that, because cellulose cannot be digested by human beings, because we don't have the enzyme which can hydrolyze the beta-1,4-glycosidic linkage. So the only vertebrate which is able to hydrolyze cellulose will be the other cattle as well as other ruminant animals. The extra stomach of these animals contain bacteria which secrete cellulase. The cellulase enzyme can hydrolyze this beta-1,4-glycosidic linkage. Snails, termite and wood rot fungi are some other species which secrete cellulase and metabolize this cellulose. Another polysaccharide is chitin, which is a linear homopolysaccharide composed of N-acetyl glucosamine residue, where the monomer is N-acetyl glucosamine molecule. Again, they are linked through beta-1,4-glycosidic linkage. So instead of beta-D-glucose, we have N-acetyl glucosamine. In the second carbon, the OH group is replaced by NHCOCH3, which we have seen in the first session as the derivative of monosaccharide. It is linear homopolysaccharide composed of N-acetyl glucosamine residue in beta-1,4 linkage. The linkage is exactly very similar to that of cellulose linkage. The only chemical difference from cellulose is the replacement of hydroxyl group at the second position with N-acetyl group, that is N-acetyl amino group. This is the Haber structure of chitin, a very similar structure of that of cellulose. Only thing is, at the second position of all the glucose units, the OH group is replaced by NHCOCH3. Linkage is same, which is beta-1,4-glycosidic linkage. Coming to the biological importance of chitin, it is the principal component of the hard exoskeleton of nearly 1 million species of arthropod insects, lobsters and crabs. So that is about the biological importance of chitin. Another polysaccharide is insulin, which is a linear polymer, which is the polymer of fructose. It is a linear fructose. You know, the Haber structure of fructose is a 5-membered ring. It is a furanose structure, whereas glucose, galactose, mannose are having a hexanose ring. They have 6-membered ring. So it is a linear homopolysaccharide composed of fructose residue in beta-2,1 or 1,2 linkage. And so as the first position of the fructose is blocked, it is a non-reducing sugar. So this is the structure of insulin, where the first carbon CH2OH, this can be considered as a second carbon CH2. This is the first carbon, second carbon CH2OH. So OH group on the CH2 will combine with the OH group directly connected to the first carbon of another fructose unit through beta-1,2 glycosidic linkage. As the first position of all these fructose units are blocked, we can consider this insulin as a non-reducing sugar. If the OH group is free on this first carbon, then only the sugar will be a reducing sugar. So here none of the OH groups are free. So it is considered as a non-reducing sugar. Coming to the biological importance of insulin, it occurs in dahlia, dandelion, garlic, onion, etc. It's a storage polysaccharide. Insulin is also a storage polysaccharide. It's a polymer of 30 to 40 fructose units. So in this session, we have seen the different polysaccharide, their partial structure and their biological functions. The polysaccharide includes starch, glycogen, cellulose, chitin and insulin.